After 2012, however, the Boy Scouts lost their way, and a once great organization became gravely wounded. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, crept in. The name was changed to Scouting America. Girls were accepted. The focus on God as the ruler of the universe was watered down to include openness to humanism and earth-centered pagan religions. Scouting became an organization that no longer supported and celebrated boys. They even welcomed the destructive myth of gender fluidity and transgenderism to infiltrate their membership. Along the way, standards were lowered and merit destroyed in favor of an insidious, radical, woke ideology that is anti-America and anti-American. The result, membership cratered. Americans didn't want this. In 1970, 10 million boys participated in Boy Scouts. Currently, less than 1 million boys and girls participate. Further, many of these community organizations that once supported Scout troops, they withdrew their support. And Scouting America, the parent organization, filed for bankruptcy protection. Mm-hmm. The changes Scouting America made since 2012 have also jeopardized the relationship with this department. And I was very seriously considering ending our support of Scouting altogether. We have a department to protect, after all. Beyond that, the policies Scouting America have in place violate President Trump's Executive Order 14173, entitled Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity. But before making this big change, I decided to meet with the current Scouting leadership to convey our deep concerns. Based on that face-to-face conversation and subsequent conversations, Scouting America agreed to make several key reforms.
Wow.
And let me briefly highlight a few of them. First, Scouting America has agreed to comply immediately with the provisions of Executive Order 14173. This includes reviewing and replacing politicized, divisive, and discriminatory language throughout the organization, programs, and all publications. No more DEI, zero. Second, the, quote, Citizen in Society Merit Badge that encouraged Scouts to explore diversity, equity, inclusion, and identity. They always mask it under a name that sounds great, but it's doing something else. And then asks those Scouts to engage in activism on those topics. That badge has been discontinued. Third, Scouting America will modify its policy to make clear that membership will be based solely on biological sex at birth and not gender identity.
Woohoo!
That means that the application, any application, will have only two sex designations, male and female, and the application must match the applicant's birth certificate. Scouting will also make clear that biological boys and girls will not be allowed to occupy or share intimate spaces together, toilets, showers, tents, anywhere like that. Fourth, Scouting America will honor those who serve by waiving the registration fees for children of active duty, Guard, and Reserve families. Should have happened a long time ago. Fifth, in partnership with the War Department, Scouting America will introduce a new military service merit badge. These and other changes that Scouting America's leadership committed to.
All right. It's crazy that this has to even be a rule. Folks. All right. So, again, it is Friday night. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all as you watch this broadcast. It's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, y'all.
And Shelly E.
It's Friday.
Yes, it is. Oh, my God. We've got
Thank
so much
God.
tonight. Yes. But before we light this fire, do your part, everybody. Tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We are live here on YouTube. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Shelly, we already got some super chats, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like we do. Thank you all so far. We have Kung Fu CJ. Thank you with your $5 super chat. Kung Fu is in the house. Hello, ladies. Let's get it. How are you all out there in chat land? Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Who else do we have? Shantia. Thank you, Shantia, for your $5 super chat. As a scout mom, this is a welcome day of celebration. Woohoo! Sounds like the boys are really back in town. So, hey, thank you all. The voice of reason. $5 super chat. It took Trump to fix this stupidity. Looks like it happens to be so. That's the case. But we thank our PTO&x there, Secretary of War, and of course President Trump. Thank you all for your super chatters.
All right. And folks, again, as you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience. All right, ladies. I mean, this is just common sense, but it's also what happens when the feds stop subsidizing woke nonsense. Shelly, what do you think about this announcement?
Look, I think it's a welcome surprise. I don't have any children in Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts for that matter, but it's a welcome surprise. When it happened, in the early 2000s or whatever, it was almost like madness when you were, number one, you're going to allow girls in. They're going to change all of these gender, sex, whatever policies, application criteria. It did not make sense. And thirdly, even today with that announcement from Secretary of War, President Trump, our military, what people, I guess, don't understand or maybe don't realize as much, the Boy Scouts are really feeders to our military. They are feeders to our military. So Secretary of War Hegseth is basically saying, okay, not only do we want more people in our military, we want guys, we want males to be males, and we will invest, if you will, in them at this stage so that they can grow up into the men who will stand in the gap, so to speak, for our country. I think this is a good thing.
Absolutely. Nicole, no more DEI. Membership is based on biological sex. Military families are prioritized, and the left is going to go nuts over this. What are your thoughts?
Well, most of their kids don't participate anyway. So, it doesn't make a lick of difference to them. But for the families that do, hold scouting and military service in high regard, this is a big deal. You think back to when we were in the scamdemic. When we were in the scamdemic, you saw soldiers who had planned a career in the military walking away from it. Families where the father and all the older brothers and uncles who had been Boy Scouts were suddenly removing their children from scouts because, between the transgenders and the girls and the boys' bathroom and all that, it was just too dangerous. It was way too dangerous. So we're getting back to the normal part of America. Again, I think maybe 30 years ago, people could not even fathom where we were last year. I mean, it would have just been like bizarre world, upside down world. And it's taken Trump 1 year to kind of push culture back to something that looks like normalcy. And I could not be happier. Girls shouldn't be in boy spaces and boys shouldn't be in girl spaces. Can we just let kids be kids? Wouldn't that be great?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just common sense. And after years of this madness, this gender ideology nonsense, we're seeing institutional rollback. Now, not as much as I'd like, though, but it's starting slowly to come back to normalcy. I mean, it's really ridiculous that we even have to deal with this. We already had a Boy Scouts and a Girl Scouts. I was a Boy Scout. My family, my nieces and everything are Girl Scouts. I don't even understand why they tried to mix this whole thing up. It's like they always try to cause chaos.
Well, you have to understand something as well, or I should say we should all understand something. In our country, there's always this push, if you will, for social experimenting. The problem is that 99.99% they are experimenting on large numbers of people, our society, real people in real life, in real time. The people may or may not know it. They're certainly not given informed consent paperwork to sign to say, yes, I'm willing to be a part of this. These are manipulations, experiments, and they can happen from the university level. Sometimes the government is funding them, or a lot of times they are. All these different parts. Someone put it, I think think it was a comment in there. Was that one of the super chatters? Liberty Girl. She's asking thank you for your $5, Liberty Girl. She's asking, where the hell did the word gender come from? It was never used when I was younger. Absolutely, Liberty. I've said this point before, many others. I typically will use the word sex because sex has to deal with X chromosomes and Y chromosomes, okay? Male, female, that's what the chromosomes are for. Gender, the word itself, has been popularized. I think it was in, I don't know, maybe the early 1900s, 50s, somewhere in that time frame. Again, when these social experiments, particularly after World War II, social experimentation and the research and the funding for them had really taken off. Gender basically is a social construct, meaning how you act out your biological sex in society, how you present yourself to society. It doesn't necessarily have to align with your biological sex, but again, if you add in the funding, the research, all of these things, you can see why this became a big deal, if you will.
Well,
And
I think
go ahead, Nicole.
I'm sorry. I think it became a big deal, Shelley, because at some point, America stopped valuing people who build things and started to value academia. And so a lot of this social construct stuff that we're seeing, a lot of the cultural things that pushed us to the edge with the Biden administration, and thank God, not Kamala Harris, but that pushed us right to the brink of America being a flat nation, came from academia. And again, these are people who live in a bubble. They don't have any real life, real world experience. You know, they live in a place where books are fine. And I love books. I've got an office full of them, but I read books after I come home from a 16-hour day of work. You know what I mean? It's their lot in life from their perspective to be thinkers. And sometimes if you let your mind run free, it goes to some really dark and crazy places. Unfortunately, the American taxpayer has funded a lot of these experiments that pushed our culture so far that it was ridiculous. The second point, I think, would be the war on boys. The war on boys started in the early 80s, where they felt like girls needed to be uplifted. And the only way to uplift girl children was to push down boy children. And this has been an ongoing saga. Boys have to sit still in school. Little boys don't sit still. That's not how they're made. That's not how they're made. They need to get up. They need to wriggle. They need to run. Every now and again, they need to haul off and hit somebody. It is just who they are as human beings. But we've tried to breed that out of our sons. So this thing with putting girls in the Boy Scouts, even though the girls didn't want to be in Boy Scouts, you know, little girls are happy being brownies, you know, selling cookies on the corner and all that kind of stuff. But this was a part of flattening our society, right? Making it homogenous. Boys are like girls, girls are like boys, and there's no difference between us. And it just doesn't work. It definitely doesn't work for most Western cultures, and most assuredly will not work here in the United States.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned, Shelley, it's a sick experiment. This is what it is. It's a sick experiment. And, you know, yes, gender has been around for a long time, but it was actually popularized in the 50s, the 1950s, right here in Maryland by a scientist, or I don't know if he was a scientist or a psychologist, named John Money. He was some type of doctor, psychiatrist, or whatever at Johns Hopkins University right here in Baltimore, Maryland. And he was some quack nut who did an experiment on twins, I believe, and was trying to prove that, you know, or redefine the idea that gender can be influenced by medicine and experimentation and things like that. And he did some type of mad scientific experiment, switching these twins' gender. I think they had some botched circumcision. It was one girl, one boy. And I don't know all the details, but it really started with him. I encourage you all to research that case. I believe it was the David Reamer case. And of these twins, and he was trying to sort of mess around with biological sex versus gender identity, and I believe these twins wound up committing suicide. It was a mess.
I know one of them did. It's interesting because, like you said, it was here at Hopkins. I want to encourage our audience, for many of our prominent academic, like Nicole was saying, KJ mentioned Hopkins, for many of our prominent academic institutions, if you will, research institutions, again, number one, they get a whole lot of money, our taxpayer money. Number one, we really don't even know where to the depths that it goes. That's number one. Number two, they perform a lot of experiments under the guise of research. They will make up stuff, if you will, out of whole cloth. And number three, they have I'm going to call it some mixed histories for all of the actual medicine or medicinal scientific progress that they may do great in that area. But on the non-medical side, they will carry out these social experiments. Again, lots of money flows through there. This is why we often say academia kind of filters these things downstream. But again, follow the money, follow the history. Johns Hopkins, prominent institution, they do good work, but they have a very, very, I'm going to say mixed history.
You know what's interesting? Law and Order SUV had an episode about what happened with John Money and this set of twins. Very interesting. If you're a Law and Order SUV fan or just regular Law and Order, you've probably seen this episode where there were two twins and the psychiatrist tried to turn one twin into a girl and the other twin to stay a boy. And it was remarkable the lengths that this man went to, and it was loosely based on the experimentation of Dr. Money.
Wow. Yeah, folks. Well, we will keep you all updated in regards to this, but this is great news. We're celebrating this news back to some normalcy, and I hope it stays that way. All right. So it's Friday night, folks. We got a great lineup of news for you, but we want to have some fun tonight too. So if you were on our community page, you may already know we're playing Super Chat Bingo tonight. All right. It's really going to be fun. So basically, we're going to show you a bingo card. What you need to do is screenshot it. All right. And then every time you hear a phrase on your card that we say tonight, mark it. If you hit 5 in a row, that's bingo. Okay. So in order to let us know, you drop a $5 super chat and type bingo in all caps. All right. Bingo in all caps. If you fill the entire board, okay, that's blackout. Drop a $20 super chat and type blackout, and then you win. Okay. And so depending on who wins or how many winners we are, we're going to put everybody into a drawing for free merch. Okay. So again, we have the bingo card here. This is the bingo card. So we're going to give you, this is the whole bingo card. Okay. Yep. So go ahead and screenshot that. You can see those are some of the words on there. And all you got to do, it's either 5 in a row, you put in bingo, or if you're playing blackout, you hit blackout and you play along. All right. And so you just screenshot it if you have, or take a photo of it if you want to. And this is the way, it's just kind of fun. You kind of see how many things we say tonight that we generally say throughout the show. And then if you want to play, you can. If you don't, that's fine too. And we'll keep showing this card for the night. All right. So that is the card, giving people time to take a photo of it. Let's see, or screenshot it, whatever you're doing if you're watching on your phone. And let me see here. All right. So let's go. All right. And we'll check in with you guys periodically throughout the night. Again, if you get bingo, that's 5 in a row. Just type bingo. If you're doing blackout, you type blackout once you hit that. And let me see here and see if this is, I think we'll put this in the chat for you guys. Okay.
We've already said a couple of these things, so not that I'm playing. I can't participate, but I'm just going to say I would have a couple of these marked off already.
Right. All right, so let's get into this. So it's not just Scouting America or the Boy Scouts that made news today. All right, Kansas is making news as well. Kansas has officially enacted a new law redefining sex in the state. state statute as strictly biological, male or female at birth. Take a look. This is clip 6.
Driver's licenses and birth certificates for roughly 1,700 transgender residents. A new law now in effect bans state documents from listing a sex that is different from the one assigned at birth. The bill reverses changes previously made for trans residents and requires them to turn in their old license and pay for a new one. They'll also be given new birth certificates.
All right. So again, the left is going nuts about this. Roughly 1,700 Kansas residents will now be required to obtain new state issued IDs with no grace period offered. All right. So they are going nuts over this. Shelly, what are your thoughts?
Look, I think it's great. I just imagine how much foolishness and money we waste going back and forth with these things. You were born with a dick. You have a dick on your, or you don't have it on your license, but you get the point, right? You have it on, your birth certificate.
Oh,
Shelly's frozen.
Oh, we'll come back to her.
Oh, she's got it. Go ahead, Shelly. You froze for just a second.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, it just goes back and forth. But look, they're going to give you the birth certificate, the state ID. Go down to the NBA or wherever to get your ID, so that you won't be disenfranchised because you can't vote. You won't be able to use that as an excuse. You can go and get it. Okay, that's it. I don't understand it. What's the big deal? You were born a male or female. Whatever, however you present yourself to the world, that's still what your chromosomes show. You're never going to change the DNA.
Not the way they believe. Nicole, what are your thoughts?
I think this goes to show again how these nutty leftists have taken our culture and morphed it. I mean, they were so close to having Americans believe that we were wrong by saying there are, male and female. I mean, just imagine where we were just a year ago, where even corporately, if you're sending an email or receiving an email, you had to put pronouns on the bottom of it so people would know how to properly address you. I've never sent so many emails in my life that just said, "Hey, John, dear Sue," because I'm not doing that. I don't want to know, who you in bed with, what junk you have. None of my business. I just want to let you know that we're going to do this thing at, dark 30. And that's the basis of the email. Now that the world is starting to right itself again, and it's not just here in the United States, but all over the globe, you're starting to see a return to what made us normal. Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of progress, but not progress just for progress's sake. I mean, as a collective, we do need to move the ball forward, but that wasn't progress. That was regression. That was absolute regression. And I thought it was horrible that they expected everybody to buy into their delusion. It was like, if you didn't, buy into their delusion, people would say, "What's it going to cost you to agree with them?" I was like, okay, so number one, my sanity. Number two, the truth. And the truth sometimes hurts. It does. You want to be a girl, but you're not a girl. You're a guy. It is what it is. Suck it up. Suck it up.
It's this again. It's common sense. And the thing that really infuriated me about this is we had to be involved in this delusion. If you think you're a man and you're a woman, or you're a woman and you believe you're a man, that's on you. But we should not have to be, normal people. People should not be roped into your delusion. And that's what we had going on here. But they continue to push back about it. Do you think we're going to have some big pushback, Shelly?
Of course, they're gonna keep pushing back. They're gonna push back because, again, their delusion. They have, I guess, the lobbying or the sponsors, whoever's paying for all of this. Of course, they're going to push back. That's part of the nature, if you will, of, again, this push pull. The thing is that, like you said, we don't have to be drawn into it. You can present yourself as whatever, but you cannot mandate that I agree with it. That I no less have to be a part of your delusion. You can't mandate that. You cannot do that at all. So therefore, you had the freedom to present as a chick with a dick. I still had the freedom to say, hell no, you're still XX or XY, and that's it.
Right.
Listen,
and this brings
I don't want our tax dollars funding any of this foolishness.
Right.
Do you hear me? As a taxpayer, I do not want one nickel of the money that they take from us. Not that we donate, because they, it's compulsory. You have to. I don't want it to be used to hurt children, to mutilate children in any way, shape, or form. Listen, if this is the surgery that you want to do once you're an adult, then you need to pay for it. The taxpayer shouldn't pay one nickel on your delusion. This is your mental illness. You're responsible for that. It should not be on us. And we're not going to change male and female to find somewhere where you're comfortable. Since when does the minority dictate what happens to the masses? I mean, come on. This is ridiculous.
And that's what it was about. There was a lot of social pressure surrounding this. As you mentioned, Nicole, with the idea of these offices, corporate and organizations making you or mandating or requiring that you put these pronouns in your email signatures. It was ridiculous. And the social pressure was extreme. So much so you even had an Olympic champion. So I'm not sure if you guys know the story about Elisa Liu. She is the gold women's singles champion for this recent Winter Games. Previously she had her pronouns, I believe, in her social media. Okay. Again, this was during the time when they were, if they go to your social media and you don't have them there, it was a big thing. Well, since she won, she removed them. She removed them from her Instagram profile, and her official U.S. figure skating bio now lists just she, her. Before, I believe she was at they, them, thing. So it's ridiculous. It really is. But again, this is this social pressure that not just she, but a lot of young people feel, because you have teachers and guidance counselors in high schools and even K through 12. They're pushing these children on these pronouns.
Yeah. That's a good point about the pressure, KJ, and not just for young people. Many people in the workplace sort of succumb to it because I guess they believed, and maybe in some cases their jobs were on the line. I go on the record and say, I never did it. I never said no pronouns. I said, you know me as who you know me. That's who I am, American, female, whatever. But many people it became mandated that they had to add certain things to their email, or they had all of these diversity seminars and conferences or whatever meetings. And so people would also report people to human resources. And that's your livelihood, you're going to do, okay, you're going to well, why the hell I got to do this inside, but outwardly you're going to go ahead and quote unquote follow the rules. That's what we say, right? So when people do it, in some ways, you can understand it when they're doing it, when their livelihood is on the line. But again, kudos to Alyssa. Congratulations for that win. I hope she takes off she, her. I mean, but step in the right direction, progress, like Nicole said.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, this one is where it comes down to taking a stand. I mean, everybody else each of us, I should say, has our unique limit. All right. Where my limit may be one thing, your limit may be another. But this is where we take a stand. I wouldn't do it. I didn't do it. I did not do it. I did not bow to that type of pressure because it was ridiculous. All right. But I understand people who saying, you know what, I don't want to risk my job. And I understand.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was an intense time. I remember it was probably the very beginning of the scamdemic. We had a healthcare meeting because the state of Maryland was volunteering us that we needed to give COVID injections. And every practice needed to donate so many medical assistants or people who were willing to give the injections, and setting up beta testers and sites like that and that kind of thing. So we had to have a Zoom meeting. And so one of the conditions of participating in this Zoom meeting was that you had to announce yourself with your pronouns, right? And so there was quite a bit of money attached to this. So my boss asked me, he said, well, are you going to participate? I said, well, it's money. So of course I'm going to participate. They're just not going to like the words I choose. And he said, look, can we just tone it down just for this one meeting so we can get our name in the pot to get a little bit of this money? Absolutely. So when, you're introducing yourself and they said, do you have pronouns? I said, you may call me Nicole Bennett. That's what you can call me.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Don't participate.
Pick one. You can call me Nicole or Bennett. Just somewhere in between. If you don't like that, you can call me Madam Chairman. We can do that. We can absolutely do that. But they all kind of just stared at the screen. And then there were other people who said, well, my name is Kevin. People were like, I'm not going through all of this. And then there was the one woman that had, in this organization, we believe, all the belief statements. It was like, by the time she finished introducing herself, we could have had the whole doggone meeting and moved on with our lives. It just got to the point where it was absurd. It was absolutely absurd. If you look like a woman and I call you miss and you feel like I misgendered you, that's the feeling you chose. You chose salty, you deal with it, right? If you look like a man and I called you sir and you think you're a woman today, again, your problem, not mine.
Absolutely. It's newspeak. Just like the book 1984. They control the words, they control the framework, they control our reality. This is what they're trying to do. It's Marxism, folks. This is what it's all about. George Orwell talked about it, and we're seeing it in real time, and it's time for us to push back. And I love that this is happening. So sound off in the chat. Let us know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree with this? Let us know. And don't forget to hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience. We appreciate the support. Also, we are playing bingo tonight, folks. We're playing bingo tonight. So I hope you've been listening. It's either a blackout card or 5 in a row. Okay, blackout or 5 in a row. As soon as you hit one, just put bingo if you hit 5 in a row. Or if I know you haven't hit blackout yet, but if you do, you put in the chat blackout. All right. So we're just having some fun, seeing if you guys we are really saying these terms a lot. I see we have some super chatters here.
Yes, we have some super chatters. We have Lester here. Thank you, Lester, for your $10 super chat. CNN will be looking for your show to fill in a void due to being bought by Paramount. Okay.
Yeah, they're shaking in their boots.
Yeah, PNP is prepared to advise a new generation of entrepreneurs daily. Well, we will take it, Lester. Thank you for your super chat. Stephen, yes, thank you for your $2 super chat. It was a disgrace that they stay seated, referring to the horrible, just the Democrats at the State of the Union speech the other night. And we have Hydro Man. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for your $20 super chat. I remember before the kids' surgery, there were people going nuts because moms or dads wanted a girl but got a boy, and they do crazy things, dressing boys up like girls, and they went to jail for cutting their son's junk off. I know. Look, it's is so much in this. Look, boys gonna be boys, boys will be boys or should be boys, and so the same thing for girls. But we got to put a stop to this. We even have to demand, when our taxpayer dollars are used for this foolishness, give us our money back. Give me my money back. We got to demand it at every turn.
Absolutely. Great. And folks, I see we have some new people in the chat. Some are asking if there are other options to donate. There are. We have Cash App as well. That's a great way to support the channel. We certainly appreciate it. You can see the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Buy the ladies a lipstick. So we have our Cash App. It's $BMORE, BMORE, Pop Stars. All right. So that's a great way. I know people say buy me a coffee. We say buy me a lipstick.
Listen, lipstick costs way more than coffee. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Way more than coffee. More than coffee. But another good thing you can buy is our merch. We have a robust merch store. Give me my money back t-shirts flying off the shelves as well. They should. And I think the latest one is Those People Are Crazy t-shirt with Trump on the front. I mean, if you want to just really set a liberal's hair on fire, wear that to a parent-teacher conference. You know what I mean? Walk into your child's school with that and see what the response is. You don't want to be that bold? That's fine. Just give me my money back. You can wear that anywhere. Almost all Americans agree that we're overtaxed. And when you see our tax dollars being ripped away from the United States and carried into foreign nations in suitcases full of cash, while you work hard like a dog to pay your bills. Anybody get an electric bill here in the state of Maryland? I was gone almost a week and my electric bill was almost $300. Was gone for an entire week, almost $300. It's outrageous what we pay. But then when you can factor in how much taxes we pay and these people walking out with our tax money, it makes us angry. KJ is modeling one of our favorite shirts, not black, not white. We're American. Don't let them divide us. Boy, everybody in New York needs one of those, dealing with man, damn it.
Right. Right, Nicole, right? Yes,
But
indeed.
get your merch, get your merch, get your merch.
All right. So, want to switch gears a little bit here and talk about a segment on Fox News today. So, you guys know we're kind of on the second to last day of Black History Month here, and Harris Faulkner hosted Black conservatives to discuss the contributions of Black conservatives and their role in shaping American history. It was a really good segment. I wouldn't even call it a Black history segment. I would call it an American history segment. Take a look here. This is clip 2.
One of the biggest myths I've heard is that we're looking for acceptance, that Black conservatives are looking for acceptance from white people. The bottom line is if we needed acceptance, we'd actually be Democrats because that's their attitude. We should be accepted, included. When really, in my mind, Black voters just want economic freedom. The Republican Party continues to lead with that message, which is why they've been attracting young Black men. We already know the 10-point shift away from Democrats to Republicans over the past 4 to 5 years. And I think the results tell the story. Economic freedom is what our focus is on, not the color of our skin.
All right. So that was Devori Dawkins, a huge YouTuber here on one of we're fans. And he was talking about the idea that Black conservatives get a lot of pushback from liberals, I don't even say liberals, leftists, Democrats, who say that we are conservative, we are Republican because we're searching for some type of acceptance. And Nicole, I wanted you to see if you can expand on what he said. If we needed acceptance, we'd be Democrat. What did he really mean? What do you think he meant by that?
Absolutely, because it's socially acceptable for Black people to be Democrats. I mean, how many times have we been mistaken as Democrats? I mean, I literally had a woman run up to me at a campaign event and hug me like I was her long lost daughter and was like, "Oh, thank God there's another Democrat here." Girl, I'm the first vice chairman of Maryland's Republican Party. You look like, no. I mean, and when she looked at me, I could see the phases of shock and awe roll across her face. And she said to me, "Well, I guess we have to have people on both sides in order for us to win." So I told her, I was like, yeah, I said, no, it's not a ploy. You know, I was born Republican. I've never been a Democrat, and there's plenty of space over here for you. You can join the winning team because this is what we're going to do here. We believe in smaller government, and that works for everybody. And she goes, "Well, you know, many people think that you guys are just doing this for attention." Same thing that Devori was talking about. I don't know any Black Republican who's taken those slings and arrows, the dirty names and dirty looks and all of that for acceptance. No, we have no desire to be a number of persons who follow blindly behind anything. I think we're pretty much free thinkers, almost to a person, maybe even to our own detriment. Free thinkers, individualists, mostly libertarian. Now, not all Republicans claim being libertarian, but a lot of the Republican platform is based on libertarian principles. So there's a lot of free and freedom and flourishing in Black Republicans, and Black Democrats don't want to hear that. They think we're the crabs that got out the barrel, and they want us back in the barrel.
Absolutely. Shelley, what did you think of the segment with multiple conservatives there? Black conservatives, of course. CJ Pearson was there, and April Chapman. What are your thoughts on the conversation?
Yeah, I thought the segment was pretty good. I love what DeVore said. First of all, I want to expand on Nicole, and I'll just give you a little personal thing. And I've said this before on here. I don't need acceptance from the Republican Party. Certainly, I haven't been a Democrat. I was a Democrat one time when I first started voting. I think I voted for Clinton just that one time. Then, I found the light, as they say. The fact of the matter is, personally, I've always said it. I don't want to be pigeonholed by any party, not Republican or certainly not Democrat, the right or the left. I love the idea. I cherish the idea of my freedom. I'm thankful for it. It wasn't given to me by a party. Now I am center right. I happen to be on the right, certainly, but that's not. I push back even on my side when I feel like someone is trying to put me in a box and conform me. You got to fit in. You got to fit in. No, it doesn't work like that with me. That's number one. Number two, the acceptance came from me. At least my light started coming on when I realized, number one, I was free indeed. I was made in the image of God. I wasn't made in the image of the Republican Party. I wasn't made in the image of the Democratic Party. Okay, I was made in the image of God. I may look like my mother or look like family members, but that's the image I was made in. So that was a big light turn on for me. Thirdly, as I became an adult and growing more, the Republican policies, if you will, parties' policies, they do align more, not just with the libertarian, but they align more for economic freedom, as DeVore said. That's where you're going to find. Now, my pushback would be, I want them to codify them more. Okay, I want them to get busy codifying them more. But the policies do lie here 99.99% of the time. And that's what I want, because when Americans are free, we are free. But when we are free economically, when we get to decide what to do with our money, where it goes to whom, when, and where, and why, then that is where the ultimate, I guess you want to call it, power lies, because then we will not be pawns of any party. Okay, no party can pigeonhole us to say, I have the black vote. What the hell is the black vote? So give me my greenbacks and I will vote with my feet or my money in that aspect. That's where the real freedom lies in my mind.
Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head, Shelley. For me, this idea of race, it's a social construct. That is the social construct. And it's actually not Bible. It's not biblical. Okay. The Bible does not divide humanity by race. As you mentioned, it teaches us we're one human race, and it speaks of nations, tongues, tribes, peoples, not races as we define them today. And what we have seen, particularly the Democrat Party, has used this idea of race to play on emotions, okay, to divide us, all right? And this is what it was historically, this is what the idea of race did. It was used to separate, okay? So this is why, as we're in 2026 right now, when are we going to transcend that? All right. When are we going to transcend this idea of race? Because the only time that it matters is politically. And when it does matter that way, it's the Democrats using it to perpetuate division. All right. And we don't need that. And so this is why this is my favorite shirt that we sell. I'm so happy we got it back. Not black, not white. We're Americans. Don't let them divide us. I love this shirt. This has been my favorite shirt. Every time I wear this, whether it's the hoodie or this t-shirt, I get so many compliments on this shirt. Everybody like, where can I get it? Where can I get it? Because people are so tired of this division that we're seeing. Who do we connect with on morals, on values? That's what's important. Again, I'm not one of these people that don't see race. Of course I see race, I see differences, but that's not what I'm looking to connect with you on. All right. And I just wish we would, get beyond that. And that's what the Democrat Party does. They try to use that for votes. It's as simple as
Can I add a little?
Power.
I want to throw another little social concept out here. Like you said, race is a construct, it's a social construct. The actual word should be ethnicity, if you will, ethnicity. So race has been misconstrued or distorted, warped, or whatever. It's really ethnicity because there is only one human race. All of our DNA, every human being, we are like 99.99% the same DNA. Okay, there may be one or two chromosomes, whatever, for some differences, whatever, but that's the bulk of it. Race is a social construct. It's only one race. There are various ethnicities, however many ethnicities or tribal groups, things like that. But the DNA is still the same.
That's right. Absolutely. And again, this was a great segment on Fox News by Harrison Faulkner. And to keep on the same vein, we move on to Wesley Hunt. All right. Wesley Hunt in Texas. He is now running for Senate. And he was here talking to sports broadcaster. I'm sorry, what is his name?
Stephen A.
Stephen A. Smith. And he let him have it, talking about being a Black conservative. Take a look here. This is clip 3.
You, as a conservative who happens to be Black, answer such cynicism coming from the other side when they say things like that?
Well, it's very simple, brother. We live in an era where there are no more slaves and there are no more slave owners. You see, I live in an era of today. My great-great-grandfather was born on a plantation. His name was Silas Crawford. He was born on Rosedown Plantation, about 30 miles north of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 3 of his great-great-grandchildren went to West Point. 3 of his great-great-grandchildren served in the military. At one point, my brother, sister, and I were all deployed in Baghdad at the same time for 2 months. We had a praying mother and a praying community. One of his great-great-grandchildren, me, is running for the United States Senate and is surging in the polls against, last I checked, 2 white guys, because nobody really cares about what I look like. They care about my service to this nation and who I am as a human being. And let me tell you something, brother, I've done all of this as a conservative. The most racist thing that I've kind of seen over the course of the past few years is this, though. It is the insinuation that Black people are too stupid to get an ID to vote. You have to have an ID for everything. And Republicans aren't looking at Black people or white people or Asian people or Hispanic people. Not at all. They are saying if you're an American and you are competent, you can figure out how to have a cell phone and an apartment and buy groceries and buy liquor and get on airplanes and buy anything else. I don't care what you look like. You could be on United, you could be on Spirit, you could be on American. At the end of the day, everybody has to have an ID. That has nothing to do with race. You see, that is the Republican Party that I am currently coming up in right now in this phase. This ain't about the color of your skin. It's about, are you an American and do you bleed red or not?
Woo! All right. There it is. Nicole, what did you think of what he said?
You know, I love me some Wes Hunt. This is my dude. I am so blown away by him many, many times. I think for a lot of conservatives, he kind of encapsulated what we feel, and he delivered it with just enough spice for Stephen A. to know that he wasn't playing with him. You know, he's absolutely right. As a culture, we can't keep reliving the past. Right. We can't, because if we do that, we're pigeonholing whole generations on thinking what's behind you instead of what's in front of you. A very wise person once told me the reason why your rear view mirror is small and your windshield is so big is because what's ahead of you is more important than what's behind you, right? And that's what we're saying. You have to look forward. No one's denying the horrors of the past. But if you're still living in the early 1800s, if that's what you've built your life on in 2026, can I tell you, you're missing everything. You're missing everything. Some of the most educated people in our country are Black people, right? Black women, lots and lots of degrees. Now, I don't know what the degrees are in, but they got lots and lots of degrees, right? We are more free now than white people were back then. Everybody's free to do whatever the heck you want to do. You can be free to be as poor as you'd like to be or as rich as you'd like to be, work as hard as you want to. You can go anywhere and do anything. I mean, we have a Democrat, so-called socialist, as the mayor of New York City. If that doesn't speak to the wild freedom here in the United States, I don't know what does. I mean, this is the freest country the world has ever known. Not just for white people, not just for Arab people, not for just, even the illegal people here in this nation, but especially for Black people. He hit the nail right on the head. And I was so glad to see Stephen A's, pupils dilate a little bit when he was giving it to him. Good job, Wes Hunt. Could not have said it better myself.
Absolutely. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
I loved it. I'm wishing for Wesley Hunt. I hope he wins. I hope he wipes the floor with his opponents. He's right. He is right. Everything. Why does any Black conservative, one of the first things the pundits or we're asked about, basically, what is it like being a Black conservative? But why do you get the pushback? What damn difference does it make? I'm standing here in front of you as a candidate, whatever the case may be, as an officer, whatever the case. Why does my color matter? Why? Why don't you ask me something about the policies or the things that we have work together to get done? Why is that the first thing that matters to you? As if there are no Black people on the other side who have done a tremendous harm to the Black community. They act like that hasn't happened.
Right?
Say it louder.
And speaking of that, I mean, you were talking about Texas. So as we heard, he is currently running in the Texas primary for Senate. Well, on the opposite side, you have particularly the Democrat Senate candidates. And one of those candidates is Jasmine Crockett. Well, she just got made viral news today. CNN, of all places, ripped her. Okay. And surprise, surprise, they're calling her a bold-faced liar. All right. Apparently, she kicked out a reporter from the left-wing news outlet, The Atlantic, because she didn't like her article written about her. Okay. And now Crockett is lying about it. And of all people, I forget his name. Let me see here. I have it. What's this guy's name? The CNN pundit. I forgot his name. I don't know. His name just totally slipped my mind. Somebody help me.
Fake flapper.
Yeah, Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper just ripped her, folks. Take a look at this clip.
We're 4 days away from the Texas primaries, which could shake up the political direction for both Democrats and Republicans. And naturally, journalists have come to Texas, in addition to the Texas journalists, to report on all the candidates. That includes Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who is running for the U.S. Senate in the Democratic primary. One journalist, however, Elaine Godfrey of The Atlantic magazine, says that she was thrown out of one of Congresswoman Crockett's rallies. And Godfrey published this article yesterday, quote, "Why I got thrown out of a Jasmine Crockett rally." Now, a day before that, Crockett told CBS News that no journalist had been thrown out of her rally. Oh, really? Well, Godfrey just released the audio, and here is the moment after a woman with a badge told Godfrey that Crockett's team wanted her to leave.
Why are you asking me to leave? They just said Elaine from Atlantic, white girl with a hat and no cut. She's interviewing people in the crowd. She's a top-notch hater and will spin. She needs to leave.
Top-notch hater. Elaine Godfrey from The Atlantic joins us now. Elaine, Crockett also told CBS News that there's no evidence a journalist was thrown out of her event.
Now, first, before we go on, you all know how the Democrats, and particularly Jasmine Crockett, have slammed President Trump, saying that he's a dictator and he is the end of democracy and the enemy of the news media because he doesn't want the media around. Here she is, Jasmine Crockett, of all people, telling a reporter that they can't report the news of her event. And then she has her removed. And then she lies about it. This is rich, okay? Let's take a look.
That there is a specific history with a history of being less than truthful, she says. Now, when it comes to being less than truthful, your article is evidence. Your claim is evidence. The audio is evidence. Did anyone else see what happened? And how can Congresswoman Crockett continue to say that there's no evidence when there's quite a bunch?
I don't know, Jake. It's a very weird situation that I have never found myself in. A lot of people saw it. There were a bunch of guests or a bunch of attendees at the rally waiting to take pictures with her. A bunch of staff, obviously all the security guards who walked me out.
Wow. All right. So as you all can see, Crooked Crockett crashed. Shelly, what are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I haven't read that story. I hadn't seen that story, but it doesn't surprise me. Again, Jasmine Crockett is not necessarily known, at least from reports that I've heard. She's a little snippy, a little nasty, nice nasty, as we want to say. And so it would not surprise me. This lady here, this journalist here, she wrote a report. Okay, they said she lied. You can write a report. It doesn't mean you lie or the other side is lying. But then she had the audio.
Right.
No, you're frowning your face, KD. What I'm saying is, because someone says something, there can be a counter. It doesn't mean that the other person is lying because there's a counter. But she did have audio to support it.
This situation, she had audio.
She had audio to support it. I hadn't gotten there yet. She had audio to support it. So I want to hear now the rebuttal, if you will, from Crockett's team. I have to see. I hadn't seen that again, like I said. So this is the first I'm seeing it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Nicole, what are your thoughts?
This has been a bad week for Jasmine Crockett in her campaign. This has been a horrible week for them. First, it was the Colbert and Talrico, kerfluffle with CBS News, and they didn't want to give her equal time. And then she comes out and says, I'm used to getting slings from the right, and now the left is after me too. This is ridiculous. What are they doing talking about me? I think it's finally hit her. Maybe finally hit her that she's only valuable to the Democrat Party when she's acting like a clown. Mm-hmm. Now that she's taken off the clown stuff and put on some regular people clothes, cut back her eyelashes a good 6 feet, and actually started speaking the English that her parents paid dearly for her to learn, she is of no value to them. Mm-hmm. Now, I will tell you, her campaign and her office has been notoriously nasty to the press. Notoriously nasty to the press. And they have for a very long time suppressed stories like the one that was written by The Atlantic. Here's the difference. Now, the Democrats don't want her to win. So people can report whatever they want to report about Jasmine Crockett now. I look for probably over the course of the weekend and on Monday, more and more stories about her personally hitting the press, things that people have sat on because she's no longer the darling of the party. She's no longer the mouthpiece for unhappy Democrats. Now it's open season, and all of the reporters that she's slighted, all the people that she's lied to, all the people she's made fun of, she's going to be a piñata for these folks. They're coming for their pound of flesh, and it couldn't happen to a nastier person. She's earned every bit of what she's got coming, including a loss, because the way these polls look, girlfriend's going to be sitting on the bench. She's absolutely going to have a seat. Talrico, after that YouTube video with Colbert, raised $2.5 million in 1 hour.
I saw that.
In 1 hour. So now that Chuck Schumer's picked his team and she ain't on it, it's a hard road to go for her. Very
so
hard.
in other words, her own team is coming after her, because The Atlantic is a left-wing rag.
Absolutely.
So,
it is
so
absolutely.
She was a pawn. She was never picked for her acumen or being a good candidate as far as knowing her district and all. She was a pawn. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is what the Democrat Party does with Black people. They use them for what they need, and then when they no longer need them, they leave them out to dry. Okay. And because she's just like Kamala Harris, because these people they can't sit alone and represent themselves as good candidates. They're terrible candidates from the get-go, but because they were this Black girl magic, I'm a Black girl, and she was all out front and out here standing for Biden and all this type of stuff. She was usable. Now they don't need her, and she does not have really any talent as a candidate to keep her on for people to vote for. She really doesn't.
Right. Exactly. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't James Talarico, he's a white guy?
Yeah.
He's very, very white. He's incredibly white.
So that's funny to me. That's funny. They're moving her out and replace. That's her party. That's the Democrat Party, right? So okay.
It's what they do, and it's what they. I mean, we take a look back to last year when they were electing their leadership. That Black women stood up there and was like, I'm running, don't talk when I'm talking, and all these little tropes that they use. And let me tell you, not near one of them got elected. Not one. Not even the transgender ones. Not one. So I think over time, they will begin to see that they're only useful to this party when they're willing to act like clowns, when they're willing to take the slings and arrows. Because I don't see, Jasmine on the campaign trail at this point, dancing to Kendrick Lamar down a hallway. That's not happening. When I tell you that she's looking like she's well educated, because again, she's no longer pandering to South Dallas in Oak Cliff. That's not who she's pandering to. Now she's going to have to convince the entire state of Texas that she's worth a vote. And she's having a hard road to toe. And again, the Democrats chose Talrico. This is their boy. I mean, he's got some stuff on him too. I digress. I'm not going to break that down for y'all. But, he's no choir boy. But by comparison, she's done far more for this party than this state legislator who's come in and stole her shine. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. If I were her, I'd be mad too. Mad enough maybe to call Nicole Bennett and tell me all the Democrat secrets so we can, use it for some op-ed.
All right. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting mad because we need you all to hit that like, share, and subscribe. We have 2 super chatters, I think, right now, 2 new super chatters. Simply Asher B, thanks for coming back for your $5 super chat, showing us some love. Thank you so much. We give it right back to you. And we have Fur Baby. He or she became a new YouTube member. So we thank you for your support for joining our Freedom Club here. Hit that like, share, and subscribe back there in the chat land. I think we have another super chatter here, Kung Fu CJ, for your $5. We thank you. He says, please stop calling our elected officials leaders. They are representatives of the people. Servants is their titles. All righty. Thank you, Kung Fu CJ, for that correction.
All right. Absolutely. And folks, if you can, throw us some more love. This is our last broadcast for the month of February. We want to go out with a bang. So if you have it in your heart, drop those super chats. Also, who is playing along with our bingo, folks? We're playing bingo tonight. All right. And so hopefully we said some of those words on the bingo sheet. But yeah, I mean, speaking of clowns, we got to throw this in really quickly because I actually love this news. Have you guys been following AG Harmeet Dillon? She is really going after these people who attacked the church in Minnesota. She is not playing around. And so they just indicted, I believe, a total of 39 people. All right, or maybe 40 for breaking into this church in Minnesota. This is the one, if you guys recall, where Don Lemon led the protest, or was one of the main rioters, whatever you want to call it, who broke in, and they're using the FACE Act to go after these people. Take a look at this. This is a interview she just did with former CBS reporter about what occurred, and she is like a dog with a bone.
Have you ruled out more charges and more defendants?
Not at all. In fact, we are looking for all of the people who invaded that church with the intent to disrupt the prayer service and exclude the ability of the parishioners to exercise their First Amendment rights inside that space. I believe every single person who participated in this should be arrested. Not all of them, of course, may be involved in the planning phase of this. Maybe they went along for the ride. They can make their cases once they're arrested, and their lawyers can make the case for them. But there are other laws that may come into play as well regarding financing of such events. So as we're getting into the evidence here, now that we have arrests and search warrants and so forth, we'll be able to build out more of a case. And of course, the other side can defend themselves as well.
How big is the universe of suspects? Right now, we're talking about 10 people. Is it 15 people? Is it 20?
There are 9 people who've been arrested pursuant to the indictment. I believe the total number of people involved in this, based on what we see on the videos that were streamed by the participants themselves, is probably closer to 40 people.
Wow. And this was an interview. This was a couple of weeks ago. They have indeed indicted at least 39 people at this point, folks.
Mhm.
She is not playing around. Also, breaking news out, I believe was yesterday, Dawn Lemon is being civilly sued as well by one of the church attendees. Nicole, what are your thoughts?
Listen, I don't blame them. If I were at that church, I would sue the pants off of him and everybody else in there. They would be renting their underwear from me. Make no mistake. One of the most precious things that we have in this nation is our right to practice our religion freely, right? They busted up into a church. First of all, that in and of itself is just, I can't even imagine. And it's people like that is the reason why we have security at churches. You know, while some churches have armed security for people like this, it is absolutely unconscionable. And I hope they take him for everything he has. Do you hear me? I mean, everything that he ever hopes to have. And
I hope they sue him straight. Sue the homosexual out of him.
Let me tell you.
Well, look.
Him and
sue the gay away. Sue the gay away.
First of all, I love Catherine Herridge. I loved her since she's been on Fox. I mean, she's gone through a lot with her health and everything. So kudos to her. I thought she's always been a really top-notch journalist investigator. That's number one. Number two, when Harmeet Dillon mentioned, there may be some other charges, I think that's going to be the key that we need to look out for. Because remember, when you're indicted or when there are subpoenas or warrants and, you're held under deposition, whatever, those initial or the top charges, if you will, also allow the feds to go deeper. So, they have, what do you call it? I forget I want to say disclosure, but that may not be the right discovery. Discovery is the way I'm looking for. So discovery, they can look at something and then that may lead to something else. So it's like, like tunnels and mazes, if you will. So I think those things are going to be very key for us to keep an eye on as well. Not just the initial or the main charge, but the underlying things. I think we might even be able to find out who's financing some of these things. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely. Folks, sound off in the chat and let us know what you think. Do you think that these charges are going to stick? That's what I'm hoping for. That's the key. We hope that we've seen many times that they get the charges set, but will they stick? Will they get convictions? That's what I want to see. I want to see
take a plea.
I want to see him crying. I didn't think this was going to happen. That's what I want to see. I want to see him begging for a pardon. All right.
You know what, KJ? Outside of Dawn Lemon, the rest of these people are regular folk, right? So having to go out to hire a team of attorneys to go against the United States Department of Justice, because you can't call your cousin's friend who went to law school. You have to go out and get an entire team to deal with the power of, when the DOJ comes after you, Shelley's right. They may be looking at one thing, but by the time they finish shaking you by your ankles, they got you on 7 felonies and some other stuff, and your mom's in trouble too. I mean, they go for the whole apple. So you can't come in with some free attorney. You need to go out and spend a couple $100,000. And these are people who don't have that kind of money. They just don't. So what I expect to see is all of these people who were so gung-ho to go raid this church and act the fool, who can't afford what it's going to take to defend themselves, turning state's evidence, turning over on Lemon, turning over on the BLM woman, turning over on anybody they can to get themselves out of this situation. I think that's going to help a lot as far as convicting him, because saying you're a journalist is not an excuse for committing crime. It simply is not.
Absolutely. Folks, please, as you come in, hit that like button. We have almost 400 people watching. We want to make sure we get those likes up, and it helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience. Also, your super chats go a long way in helping us stay online. We do this just out of love and out of building a community. And so we really appreciate your super chats. All right. So speaking of charges, so we've been talking about pretty good news, much good news throughout the show. This news is not so good. So a Detroit police sergeant and officer have been suspended without pay for 30 days after contacting U.S. Border Patrol during separate traffic stop incidents. Take a look. This is clip 4.
It should make it clear, however, that I, as chief, will continue to vigorously enforce DPD policies.
In a post on X Friday, Homeland Security saying it's absurd that 2 Detroit police officers would face punishment for alerting CBP about a criminal illegal alien. They are American heroes who chose public safety first. Chief Bettison saying now the suspensions made final by the Police Board of Commissioners is enough.
I thought that was sufficient. I support them, and I'm satisfied.
The sergeant suspended Denise Wallet, filing a federal lawsuit against the department Friday.
Absolutely no policy was violated whatsoever.
Her attorney, Solomon Radner, says she called Border Patrol to help identify someone that didn't have identifying documents, which is not a violation.
At some point, she called her lieutenant and said, "What do I do? We can't identify this man. What do I do?" And the lieutenant, knowing the policy and following the policy, told her, "Call Border Patrol." So she did that, just for the purposes of identifying this man.
Wow. I mean, you would think this would be normal protocol. Shelley, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I mean, it sounds like apparently it is the protocol because there was no policy violated. It's not a violation of the Detroit Police Department to call for identifying purposes. So it sounds like that. But what it says to me is that, again, I've said this before, we have so many laws and policies that overlap, that play. Maybe the lieutenant was wrong or right. I don't know. But you suspend a hardworking, a good officer from the streets of Detroit just to prove a point because you want to give the finger to ICE or Trump. It doesn't make sense. Again, these policies ultimately do not help the people they are supposed to. They are helping the criminals. And why should this person even be driving without identification? I mean, how do you do that? That's already a crime.
Absolutely. And for you guys who may have just come in, so this woke Detroit police chief, Todd Bettison, he's arguing the call violated department policy, which prohibits officers from contacting immigration authorities during routine stops. The Board of Police Commissioners voted to suspend both officers without pay. All right. So Wallet has now filed a federal lawsuit against the city, alleging her constitutional rights and due process were violated. All right. Meanwhile, Border Patrol agents reportedly detained the individual for immigration violations after responding to the scene. Nicole, what are your thoughts?
You know, this is, again, a big difference between people who are sheriffs and people who are employees of the state. This is what I mean when I say sheriffs move different. Sheriffs are responsible to the people that elected them. The police department or bureaucrats are part of the state. So this is their policy, according to him, that she wasn't supposed to call immigration, although this was an illegal person who was doing illegal things. She should have what? What is the option? I want this police chief to look into the camera and say the option was for her to let him go. Say that. Say that and watch that. And when I tell you the power of the DOJ come down on your head like a damn ton of bricks, it is outrageous. However, you expect this in blue places. Maryland, very much like that. My friend, Sheriff Mike Lewis down in Wacomico is all over national news because he's saying, so what you're asking us to do is to stand down and allow lawlessness in our counties. Nobody's going to do that. We're not going to let people run amok in our counties, regardless of who they are. My whole job is to make sure that people in my county stay safe. And if you're asking me not to do that, then we're going to have bigger problems. And that is the right thing. That's what this police chief should have said. He should have looked at this and said, listen, she didn't call him for immigration purposes. She called him for another purpose, but this was somebody illegal doing illegal things. No harm, no foul, push forward. But 30 days with no pay and a suspension in her jacket. Are you serious? I would fight him too. Good on her for hiring that attorney. Absolutely. And that attorney looks like a bulldog. You hear me? He looks like he gonna get after somebody. So good for her.
She's punished. She was punished for contacting ICE. I can't believe it. She's punished and the guy was illegal. He was illegal.
So I had a question. So if it was one of us, or let's say an American or whomever, if we were stopped, number one, we would have been taken in. So I'm just wondering why they didn't just have the car towed like they typically would do, or compounded, and then take the person to jail. I don't know if that happened or not, or was this all at the scene? I think that she called ICE or talked to the lieutenant. Because if it was us, we would have been hemmed up for not having the ID, driving all, and again, not just one traffic violation, it would have been several by the time they wrote the report, right? Would have been several charges, and our cars would have been impounded. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it looks like she contacted Border Patrol because to help her with identification after her fingerprint scanner failed. So this guy, the ID didn't work. She was trying to figure out who this person was. And so that's when she said she called Border Patrol to figure out who he was, if she could.
Yeah, I got that. But I'm saying anybody else, I don't understand why he was not just taken in. If you or I was stopped with no identification, whether or not the machine broke, we would have been taken in and our car would have been impounded. So I don't understand why that didn't happen at all, or if it did, or at what point in the process it may have happened.
Well, I think he had ID.
Oh, okay.
He did have ID, but it was fraudulent. It was a fraudulent Michigan driver's license. And so she looks at it. It didn't work. It couldn't be identified. She realized it was fraud. So that's when she decided to contact the Border Patrol.
Again, take them in.
This is the problem that I have, and Shelley's making that point really well. If this were anybody else, not an illegal immigrant, not an illegal alien, if this was Nicole Bennett in the car with a fake ID, not supposed to be driving, and I'm not telling you who I am, you know what they do? Again, I'm going to take you back to Wycomico. They will snatch the glass out of your window, yank you through the window, put your face down on the asphalt, and arrest your butt. What happened? It tells me that these illegals are getting a different level of justice than the rest of us. And I don't like that at all.
The point. That's the point.
This is ridiculous. There are a million YouTube videos where you see a cop go up to a car and ask somebody for their ID. If they don't present ID, or if they don't follow a lawful command, they break that window and pull them through the hole. And then it's a whole problem from there. So why did this guy get special treatment? What was it about him that got special treatment? Was it because he was illegal and she didn't know what to do, so they decided kid gloves? Did her lieutenant tell her to back away from this situation? Was she so afraid of this policy and being suspended that it meant that he got way more justice than he deserved?
Absolutely.
Or, if that was Tyrell in that car, would Tyrell's butt be sitting in the cell right now? Would Tyrell have
and if it was Tyrell, we would all be saying, follow the law, why didn't you give him the ID? Why did you give him false ID? We will all be saying that this guy should have been taken in. Again, I don't know if he ever got to that point, but it seems like it was a special set of treatment for these illegals. That's what it sounds like to me.
And that's the thing that we have to watch out for. We have to be very vigilant as Americans that in these blue places, especially here in Maryland, that they're not getting away with things that American citizens could never even dream of. There cannot be two separate sets of rules for criminality. Either it's wrong or it's not. It can't be. It's only wrong if you were born here. But if you're illegal in this nation, we're going to let you get away with it. We can't have two separate sets of justice. That flies in the face of everything that we believe in. They have to get this thing under control, or you can see this is a very slippery slope. Very slippery slope. Because, if I get pulled over and I got a fake ID, my name's going to be Marisol.
Right. You're right. You are right, folks. This is why you got to watch us, because mainstream media won't tell you this. They won't tell you this type of stuff. You get it here because we dig in. We're not afraid to confront the truth. We're not afraid to really dig in and get to, some of these things where people don't like to talk about. We're talking about it here, and we appreciate your support. So, folks, as you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and subscribe. What are you doing? Why are you watching and haven't subscribed? You know you love it. You know you love us. Subscribe. All right. I think we have some super chatters
here. Yes, we have some super chatters. Thank you, producer Fur Baby. Thank you for your $10 super chat and for being a member of our Freedom Club. Fur Baby says, Royal is my Pomeranian. I am a Black woman from Arnold, Maryland. I love you ladies. I am a new Republican and mad as hell that I wasted all those years voting for Democrats. Well, thank you, Fur Baby. But now you got the rest of the time to just go ahead on the right path.
Catch up.
So you're fine. That's right.
Never too late to do the right thing.
Absolutely.
And Royal
on
is
the
super
right
cute.
side.
Royal is
You got a Pomeranian. I just want you to know I call them little dogs bitch yappers. But okay, thank you. Pretty Kimmy, thank you for your $10 super chat. Hey ladies, I appreciate all you guys do to keep us informed. God bless you all. Thank you, Pretty Kimmy, and thank you, Fur Baby. Take care of your fur baby.
Yes, indeed. And folks, you know we're playing bingo. Here is the bingo card. If you guys are still playing, we've said a couple of these things. I think we've said a couple.
So I got bingo, but I can't play. But
right. This is what it is. It's like you got to continue to keep, look at what we're saying and listen, to what we're saying, and then make sure you're quick to cross this out. Okay. So this is the bingo card. Take a photo, screenshot it if you need to. This is the card we're using all night long. And it's first, whoever gets it first, just comment bingo in the chat, or if you're working to blackout, comment blackout in the chat, and you will be entered in a drawing to win some merch. So we got some really cool items now, and so you get something really nice. So this is the bingo card. Screenshot it or take a photo and play along. We said a lot of this stuff tonight. All right. So let's keep this train going here. So speaking of arrests, let's talk. We already talked about the SAVE Act. And so we know that a lot of Democrats are saying, we don't need this. Why do we need this type of stuff? Because we need to fortify our election system. And this next case tells you why. 3 women in Monroe County, Alabama, have been indicted on multiple voter fraud charges tied to the August 26, 2025 Frisco City municipal election. Take a look. This is clip 5.
In South Alabama, 3 people arrested accused of filling out bogus absentee ballots.
That's a story we broke on all of our digital platforms this afternoon. Our Natalie Williamson has your late reporting from Frisco City in Monroe County.
Natalie, the accusations are related to last year's municipal election there.
That's right, Lenise and Cameron. The 3 women were arrested today for voter fraud in connection to the Frisco City municipal election last August. This big development follows a lawsuit that was filed, which also alleges wrongdoing in the August election. Tonight, election cheating allegations in small-town Alabama. 3 women accused of rigging a bunch of absentee ballots. Court documents filed today in Monroe County reveal a grand jury indicted 67-year-old Sharon Denson, 46-year-old Samantha Kiles, and 59-year-old Sarah Bennett for illegally filling out and submitting ballots during the Frisco City municipal election in August of 2025. Those same records show Denson changed 7 people's ballots. Kiles altered 4 people's ballots, and Bennett changed 9 people's ballots. The criminal charges follow a civil lawsuit that was filed last September by former Frisco City Mayor Alan Lang, who lost the August election. In it, Lang is challenging the vote count, saying 131 illegal absentee ballots were counted, which changed the results. According to the lawsuit, 85 people falsely claimed they would work a 10-hour shift on Election Day to justify voting absentee. 33 people claimed they were physically disabled and couldn't vote in person, and at least 13 people who didn't live in the town voted. The Alabama AG's office says the 3 suspects arrested today are facing a total of 17 counts of ballot harvesting and 20 counts of unlawful use of an absentee ballot. This case is being prosecuted by the Special Prosecution Division for the State Attorney General. In Frisco City, Natalie Williamson, Fox 10.
Wow. Nicole, what are your thoughts on that?
Lock them up. Lock them up. I don't care how old they are. Lock them up, because that was done with intent. See, this is the thing. It would be different, a wholly different thing if they were the people who were opening the ballots and weren't paying attention to a signature or something like that. Like one maybe get by you. But when you purposely fill out ballots for people that ain't even there, that's a felony, and it should be treated as such. This is the reason why you see so many younger people say, oh, I'm not going to vote because it don't count. They're going to mess it up. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. We have to have some integrity in our elections, or the whole system falls apart. It absolutely falls apart. And what's shameful is when the United States goes into nation building mode and we go to these other nations and help them stand up elections, we make them put a fingerprint and they got to come and smile for the camera and do all of that. And here we have these three dimwits down in God knows who, Alabama, filling in ballots because there are no checks and balances here in our own system. That's the irony of this thing. We would not let this happen in a third world country, but we let it happen here in our own country. Foolishness. Under the jail with all three of them. Everybody gets some jail time. Ain't nobody walking away from that. Everybody should get some jail time.
Wait a minute. So Shelley, I mean, do you actually want these old black ladies locked up?
Yeah, I want them to suffer some consequences. Let me tell you why. First of all, we talk about local elections and how important it is, politics, vote definitely in the politics that are closest to you. This little town, I just Googled it very quickly. This little town has less than 2,000 people, fewer than 2,000 people, right? So their elections are really tight. It's split about 50-50, give or take, white, black, maybe a few other ethnicities there. But these local elections, they remind me of the small town like a Sparta, like in the heat of the night. You know how those the city council, they're very involved. Everybody knows everybody, and it's always something going on in them little small towns. And I bet you dimes to donuts. I bet you all those votes changed in favor of a Democrat. I bet you, because it never goes the other way. You never hear about people changing ballots for a Republican or for an independent or whatever. It's always to the Democratic edge. And the fact that, again, according to these little demographic stats that I pulled up, they have a high median age of 50. So it tells me that the town is on the older side, so they don't have younger people coming along with jobs and to sustain all of their public assistance programs. So it's a scam. Yeah, I want them to serve sometime. I do. I mean, I don't. They got 17 charges or whatever. I wouldn't say 20 years, but I do want them to serve sometime.
Wow, Nicole, we are breaking the news. This is a great aunt of Nicole's, Sarah Creighton Bennett.
Bennett is my married last name, girl. No,
ma'am. Don't claim it. Don't claim it, Nicole.
My last name is Bennett. I ain't in it. I ain't got nothing to do with them folks. You can tell that they don't think they're going to do a day by the grins in their photographs.
Them old biddies ain't got nothing to do but change
like, oh, I'll be home before you finish the paperwork. That's what that face say. But I'm going to tell you what, I couldn't be a judge in that small town because they would not be going home. This is a breach of the public trust. This is like a cop, going out robbing a bank. I mean, it is that grave. When people lose trust in our system of electing our representatives, it undermines not only our own authority here at home, but how do we then convince nations that we're trying to help that our system is the best when we can't even get it right here? It just ruins everything.
How widespread do you believe this absentee ballot fraud is? Do you think this goes further or a lot farther than we realize?
Without question.
Yeah, especially in recent years, at least since the scamdemic. Absolutely.
Without question. Now, I think prior to the scamdemic, I think it was probably abused a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. But what happened during COVID was they saw an opportunity to say, okay, now if we could do anything we needed to do to win an election, print off ballots with people's names on it that they may or may not get, and we can go ahead and fill them in. I will never forget hearing from Atlanta, one of the Dem operatives down there calling into a radio show when it was, kind of touch and go with Trump. Oh no, don't worry about it. I'm coming with 2,500 Democrat ballots. How the hell do you know they Democrat ballots?
Right.
How do you know that? Right? So now they went down there. You know, the DOJ goes down there to get said ballots, and you've got every prominent Black Democrat in Georgia taking a crap on the floor because now the secret's out. Now the truth is going to be told. Now we can't do anything about that election, and truth be told, I wouldn't want to, because it's made Trump a better person. It's made him a stronger president. It's given him a veracity that he didn't have at Trump 1.0. All of that said, the cheating has got to stop, and everybody involved needs jail time. Not a weekend. I'm talking at least 36 months at a minimum. 36 months.
Absolutely.
I want them to have to eat that food. I want them to come out 20 pounds lighter than when they were convicted. I want shackles. I want them dragged down the hallway. I want them perp walked. I want all of that. Because for those of us who do it right, who play by the rules, when you get caught cheating and you just get away with it, then why should I follow the rules?
Yeah.
And let me say this to your question, KJ. Again, the scamdemic exposed or aided, facilitated a lot of this. And I think about Ronald Reagan's quote that's attributed to him: "The 9 fearful words. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help." Right.
Mm-hmm.
The scamdemic was an absolute play out of that. They presented money, all these funds, easier ways to vote. We have pictures, talking about Black history, we have pictures in Black history of our forefathers, if you will, ancestors, standing in lines that are wrapped around the block 10 times and being hosed and threatened to go vote, dressed up in Sunday's best to go vote, right? At the threats of death and peril to go vote. But the government, if you will, quote unquote, made it easy during the scamdemic for you to go and vote or not vote, so to speak. You know, they wanted to put you in fear. You're going to get all these viruses. You're going to make someone else sick. You got to wear this, or you got to stand back so far, whatever. All of these things under the guise of helping us be safe and helping us stay safe. And it did nothing of the sort. It made it for the worst for our cities, our states, our country. As a people, we're on the worst side, if you will. Thankfully, President Trump, we're coming out. People have awakened to a lot of the scams and schemes of the scamdemic, but it did not help us. When you hear the government again trying to make it easy in any kind of way in your life, you should be wary. You should be wary.
Absolutely.
It comes at a huge cost.
100% agree. 100. Well, with elections coming up, you know, we have the midterms. This case is likely to fuel debate over election integrity, ballot harvesting, and enforcement at the local level. So we will continue to follow this case. Folks, so we got some major announcements here. It looks like we got a winner for the 5 in a row bingo.
Oh, the
Hey, there you go, S-Files.
That's right, S-Files. Thank you. $5 super chat. One of our mods, our Freedom Club member, and she won bingo. Thank you so much.
Yes.
You gotta let us. Thomas Duvalis, thank you for your 2,000 yen. Thank you, Thomas. I hope you've been well. Hello, ladies. I'm always watching, but I'm on the other side of the world and seldom catch you live. Love your work. I was a Boy Scout in the mid 1950s. I love you. I love you from your American fan living in Kobe, Japan. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank
we love
you, Thomas.
Thank you so much. To Kung Fu CJ, $2 super chat. That's one of our mods and one of our freedom members. Kung Fu says she has shamed the Bennett name. Lock them up.
And you are right, Kung Fu CJ. She should get an extra 6 months.
Who's that? Is that Q Thulu? Thank you for your $10 super chat. Fulton County is as crooked as a question mark.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to see the heat being put on them. That's right. Thank you. Got a question for S-Files. Can you put in the chat what the words were that they gave you bingo?
Well, okay.
She can just type them in. I mean, right?
No, we don't need that really.
Okay.
Yeah, she put that in there, so that was good.
At this point, somebody should be working on a blackout.
Yeah, now we're working on the blackout.
Oh, okay.
Now we're working on the blackout, folks. So we're at the end of the show, though. This was fun, though. I think so. Let us know what you all think in the chat. What you think about this bingo, and if we should do it again. So before we leave out, though, I want to share this with you guys. So we got some breaking news here. I mean, the Democrat Party, this has not been a good week for the Democrat Party at all. At all. Well, first we had Kamala Harris. She came out of her hole for a bit and teased that she may be running again. And she was pretty much, yeah. But the Democrats don't want to run.
I wanted to run.
Well, now, if she wasn't enough, we had to bring out Biden. Biden is back, folks. They had some type of event tonight, it looks like, and he is at the event. And I just want you guys to see what happened. He take a look here.
Around the world, despite everything you read, despite the fact that COVID drove migration to record levels all around the world, the day I left office, border crossing into the United States were lower than the day that I entered that office inherited from Trump.
It's crazy as hell.
I won't say it.
They didn't even clap.
That's just a fact. On the day I left office, I handed Trump the strongest economy in the world. In the world. That's not hyperbole. That's a fact.
Man has lost it all. Not only has he lost his bowels, his urine, he has lost his marbles. I mean, they're gone. They were a little bit left before. Now he has none left. And you see the crowd. This is a Democrat crowd. They did not even clap when he said it because they know it was a bald-faced lie.
Absolutely. This is absolutely wild. This is my problem with Joe Biden's White House. He wasn't there for most of it. He wasn't even cognizant most of the time. So somebody is feeding him these lies and they think he can get away with it because he's an old man and he shuffles and poops his pants. That's not enough. It is not enough. All of America now knows what we had to live through with that administration. And yes, every now and again, they roll out an old president and you give him a little bit of grace for the nostalgia, but he hasn't been out of office long enough for people to be over the hurt that he caused. All of this with ICE and getting these illegals out of our nation, this is because of him. This is not because of Trump. He's the one that caused this problem. A secure border, please. He's out of his damn mind. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I'm surprised he's speaking. I don't even know where, but I think right now he said that I think that he's forgotten. They have delayed to give him his trazodone and his Aricept because he should have long been in the bed. Number one, I'm surprised he's out here speaking anywhere. He doesn't even know what he's saying. He's missing his medication right now, so they just just letting him go ahead and play along. He looks an absolute crazy standing there. I mean, again, they are embarrassing him or allowing himself to be embarrassed. Where's Jill? I mean, why would you do this?
I know. They do it because he's the golden goose, all right? He's the cow, and they got to keep milking these teats as old and rubbery as they are. They got to keep milking it and keep milking it to try to get every ounce of milk, no matter how much pus is in it.
Oh my God, KJ, you're ruining milk. You're ruining milk for me.
That scrotum and that prostate are shriveled.
This man, leave him alone. Give him an ice cream and sit him in the lazy boy and let him just stay out of public life for the rest of his days.
Listen,
I mean, God,
this just goes to show you where there's
Nicole, I tell the truth. They look like prunes.
I don't want to see it. It's the whole reason why I got into the administration side of healthcare. I don't want to see no more of that.
Talking about his teats, the teats.
No,
the testicles.
The testicles.
Oh, I don't know how you got on testicles now. I didn't go that far.
They look like prunes.
No. Wait a minute. Where do you talk? I was talking about teeth. I was talking about the milking of. Oh, I'm thinking about breastfeeding, but no, never mind. Yeah, no, I wasn't.
None of that's on the big card.
You always go too far, Shelly. The man is.
Shelly went too far. I mean, you just ruined milk for a whole generation. For a whole generation, you just ruined milk. Let me tell you something. And listen, Maha says full fat vitamin D milk.
Yeah.
None of this watered down foolishness is 2%. The White House has said over and over again, follow these MAHA things, or Mike Tyson's going to come and slap the hell out of you and tell you to eat real food. Those are the new PSAs that are coming out. I think they're hilarious.
Yep. I love it. I love it. All right, folks, that does it for us tonight. Wow, what a night. We love spending our Friday nights with you all. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Tomorrow, you can catch Just the Guys podcast. We'll be back tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Right here on YouTube, Just the Guys podcast. And you can catch them every Saturday night at 6:30 p.m. They have a show in store for you, so you don't want to miss it. That's Just the Guys podcast tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. And then on Sunday, you can catch me and Michelle. We'll be back on Sunday night at KJ Christian Conservative, bringing you all the latest. We got a hot show for you planned already for Sunday. So that's going to be Sunday at 9 p.m. at KJ Christian Conservative. Folks, want to thank you guys. Christian Conservative just hit 15,000 subscribers. I am so excited. We want to thank you guys. I know some of you watch from, Pop and Politics have watched us there, and we just growing. Thank you so much. But this is it for us tonight, and we're going to put S-Files in the drawing for her bingo. So we were excited for that. Ladies, final thoughts. Nicole.
Well, let's talk about it. The mainstream media won't tell you this. It's fake news. The narrative is collapsing. Joe Biden's a whole asshole. America first. The Constitution. This is wild. And the data doesn't lie. There's almost a 100% chance that he had on an adult Depends that was full while he was standing there talking this foolishness. Shelley's right. He needs his medication. And for those of you who are playing bingo and ain't nobody saying blackout, I just gave you all the ones you were missing. All of them in one sentence. I love Friday night bingo. Yeah. Hopefully somebody super chats and says blackout so you too can get into the drawing.
Oh, S-Files did blackout too. She's in the drawing twice. Oh my gosh. She got blackout. S-Files got blackout. Yeah. And rumor has it he smells like pee.
No, he smells worse than that. No.
I think he smells like cheese.
Worse than that.
He smells like cheese.
All
right, we got some super
chat here. Let's see. Bernie. Hi, Bernie. Thank you for your $10 super chat. Biden got 16 million more votes than Obama in 2012. Bull, S-H-I-T. Sugar honey ice.
I know. I think they cheated now, too. I never believed it at first. I do believe it now.
Cool CJ, thank you for your $2 super chat. We love you, ladies. Thank you so much. We love you all, too. Again, if you did not hit that like button, hit it on your way out. You got to do it. You got to do it. But we thank you all for being here tonight with us. What was your question, KJ?
Just final words, final thoughts for tonight.
Final thoughts for tonight. I don't think this is on the card, but I'm just going to say, look, we know we're in election season. Please make sure you vote. It's also important if you can be an election judge. What do you call it? The watchers, if you will. If you can participate, please do so. We need our side's eyes at the polls as well. So again, stand up, strap up, show up, and speak up.
All right. I think the Texas election is Tuesday.
It's
Tuesday.
Primary.
Yeah, primary. Yeah. So we will be back to talk about it on Monday night at 9 p.m. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.